In the beginning, according to the first 2 or 3 chapters of Genesis, there was no distinction, no separation, I should say, between God and his human creation, Adam and Eve. In the beginning, there was no separation between God, Adam, and Eve. Of course, there was a distinction. There was a distinction between them. He was God and they were not. But there was no separation because God lived with them and they lived with God. They lived together in the beginning. They lived in the same sphere. They lived in the same dimension. They lived in the same world. They even lived in the same zip code. There was no separation between God, Adam, and Eve. They all lived together. But when they ate of the forbidden fruit, something happened in terms of their living arrangements. Because there was a radical rupture between their access to the presence of God, such that now they were still in relationship with God, but they no longer lived that relationship in his presence. Turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, they were still in relationship with God, but they no longer lived in his presence. So after they ate the forbidden fruit and after their access to his presence was ruptured, they were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and there were gates that were placed there, and there was an angel with a flaming sword that was standing on the gates, by the gates, so that they could never come in again. God did not forsake them. He just no longer lived with them.